Thank you for attending the Cannabis Investor Webcast. I would like to thank our platinum sponsors, Nemus Bioscience, Kaya Holdings, formerly Alternative Fuels Americas, Aurora Cannabis, Tariga Sciences, Organigram, and Technical 420. To view Technical 420's latest stock report, please visit www.technical420.com. To ask a question to the presenter, please type your question in the question box in the lower right screen. Our presenters today is Michael Smullen, co-founder and executive chairman, David Wright, president and CEO of AltMed LLC. I will now turn the screen over to you. Give me a couple of seconds.
The drug, which was called Synagis, became the 9th most successful biotech product of all time and continues to save the lives of thousands of children all over the world. Now, during my tenure, annual sales grew from $30 million in my first year in 1994 to well over $1 billion in the U.S. by 2005. In 2007, I was part of an executive team that successfully completed the sale of MedImmune to AstraZeneca for $15.8 billion. And I mention that because, after you hit a home run like I think we did at MedImmune, it's hard to think about what that next mountain might look like to climb. I was quite certain that I'd probably be retired for the remaining part of my life. I'd been happily retired for 7 years when I happened to see the Sanjay Gupta documentary on CNN called Weed, which I know all of you have seen. It chronicles the journey of a small girl in Colorado with a devastating form of epilepsy called Dravet syndrome, and the role a high CBD form of cannabis played in controlling her seizures. Truth be told, I've never have been around marijuana, never given it a lot of thought, but because of some personal reasons that I'll share with you in just a couple seconds, I was really moved by what I had just seen, and it really spurred me on to do further research. My own daughter suffers from epilepsy, and over the years, she struggled with the side effects of the pharmaceuticals that she's been on. Her seizures were well controlled, but the impact on her quality of life was pretty devastating. In addition, I lost my younger brother to bladder cancer and watched his terrible ordeal with pain pills. So both those experiences have shown me that the industry I came from might not always offer the best solution for people suffering from a variety of diseases. And I really believe that cannabis provides a wonderful alternative, and that we've only begun to scratch the surface in understanding just how important this plant might be and the extent of its effectiveness in treating a variety of diseases and relieving the suffering for thousands of people across this country. From the beginning, AltMed was formed with the idea that we take the lessons that we'd learned from our experiences in building successful pharmaceutical and biotech companies by placing strong emphasis on the science, quality control, rigor, discipline, and of course performance, and creating what we believe in time will be the premier medical cannabis company in North America. Now, AltMed is headquartered in Sarasota, Florida. It was established a little over a year ago in an effort to have a fully integrated company in place to secure an early license if Amendment 2 were to pass in Florida. With the failure of Amendment 2, AltMed quickly shifted its focus to other parts of the business plan that, quite candidly, we probably wouldn't have gotten to for 3 to 4 years. Now, since November, while continuing to prepare for the Florida market and establishing a strong brand, AltMed has been active and has accomplished the following. Number one, we've purchased a 30,000 square foot building in Sarasota, which houses our corporate headquarters and hopefully a future flagship dispensary for AltMed and manufacturing facility for our Bang products, which you'll learn more about from Dave in a few minutes. 24,000 square feet of this building is prime manufacturing space. Number two, we've established a partnership with a local 30-year nursery that's on the list for state-approved nurseries under Senate Bill 1030. We've acquired 20 acres to grow. We also have the ability to take down an additional 600 acres in the future if needed. Number three, we're in the process of completing a deal in Arizona, and this is really exciting. It's going to give us a license, an existing dispensary, and 49% ownership of a 36,000 square foot state-of-the-art indoor grow facility, which is close to completion. Now, the facility has the opportunity, or presents the opportunity for us to add a second floor in the future, which would give us an additional 30,000 square feet of indoor grow space if we so desire. Number 4, we have an exclusive license from Bang to manufacture and distribute their products in Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. We have a verbal commitment and are finalizing an agreement with Bang to acquire 7 additional states. Number 5, we have 2 development projects in place, one for a transdermal patch and the other a sublingual strip. 6, we currently have 16 outstanding employees on board at AltMed, several with strong pharmaceutical and biotech experience, including 2 physicians and 1 scientist. And 7, we have a close partnership with Vita Cannabis in Canada. It's a company, it's an outstanding company with DNA very similar to AltMed. The first part of the relationship was established to exchange intellectual property for the development of proprietary strains, and we're currently exploring a joint venture opportunity with them in California. And finally, in 2015, we've successfully brought in $6.5 million to AltMed, $5 million very recently in a friends and family round that was just completed. So with that as a backdrop, it's a pleasure to turn the formal part of our presentation over to David Wright, our CEO and President. David's a gentleman I've known and worked with since 1994. Dave has over 40 years in the pharmaceutical biotech industry. He has successfully launched 9 important products in this space. He's headed up 3 companies in biotech. He's taken 3 companies public, and he's raised close to $750 million for those startups. So Dave?
Thank you, Mike. I think I should say thank you. 40 years in the industry means I'm old. You keep pointing that out to me because I am. Let's see if I can go to the first slide here. Why is this not working? All right, I apologize. A minor...
Right-click on the slide, and it should say next if you right-click. Does it say next?
No, it's not saying next. There we go.
There we go.
All right, I went too far. All right. Sorry about that. Anyway, the cannabis market in the United States is an extremely large market, and it is growing rapidly. There have been reports that state that this is the fastest growing market segment of any industry in the United States. Currently, medical marijuana is legal in 26 states, and it's believed that there'll be an additional 6 states within the next 5 years. While it is a Schedule I narcotic currently, there is legislation in Congress, in the House right now, to change this to a Schedule II drug, which will have a dramatic impact upon the growth of the market. The growth rate in 2014 was 74%. We believe that the changing in the schedule could increase that to become 174% per year. As it stands now, it looks as it's forecasted from ArcView that this is a $36.8 billion market. That is a huge market. The medical part of that market represents anywhere from half to a quarter of the total marketplace. In Florida, the market is very large. Many consider Florida to be the 2nd largest market in the United States. It's estimated that there are 3.2 million plus patients that could potentially use marijuana based upon their diseases in the states. If you take a fairly conservative approach and say that 10% of those patients will seek medical marijuana and use an average of an ounce per month, that calculation leads you to a $1 billion market on the medicinal side of cannabis in Florida alone. That could be several times that, depending upon the penetration in the available population market. When looking at the cannabis industry today, and the cannabis industry is full of immature companies. I mean, this is an industry that literally is coming out of the closet. 100% of the growth 8 years ago was done in closets, in basements, in garages. So there are a number of companies out there that have never been involved in conventional business. They've never written a business plan. They have never done a financial statement. They do not have the experience in retail, believing that the only thing involved in opening a retail store is renting some space and putting in some counters. We all know that that's not true, but the current state of the industry is full of people with that concept. Additionally, because of the individualization by state of the rules and regulations, because this is a Schedule I drug and is not allowed to be transported across state lines, there are really no international brands or very few international brands. Additionally, because of the newness of the marketplace, there are really no standards. Unfortunately, today, products are made many times in back kitchens that are not designed to follow what is known as GRAS, or generally regarded as safe regulations, which are used in food products. And the industry is growing. I will say we're getting there, but we're a long way from where the industry needs to be. Additionally, the legal landscape is changing rapidly, both on a state-by-state level and by a federal level. And so without institutional leadership or guidance, without a unified business situation, this is a very fragmented industry at the current time. Now, who is AltMed? AltMed was formed, as you heard Mike say, because of a need which we all believe in and we all feel. And it was developed to become a fully integrated medicinal cannabis company. And the reason fully integrated is one of control. By being fully integrated, we can control from the very genetics of our product to the delivery of the patient to ensure a quality product, much like is done in the pharmaceutical industry. Our grow will be as close to GMP as one can get when you're growing something in soil. If it was true GMP, you would have to irradiate your soil in order to make it sterile, but that would not be very good for growing a plant. So we will follow the GMP procedures. We will have a clean area, a dirty area. Everyone who enters the facility will have to gown in and then go through what's known as an air shower. We will follow these regulations. Everything that comes into the facility will have to go through an air shower in order to help provide that quality product, which is a medicine. And this is something that really needs to be emphasized and remembered. While all states are beginning to require some sort of testing, we will set up our own laboratory. We have a PhD chemist on staff. We will test all our products from the time that they are harvested, after they are dried, after they are converted into oil, and the final product will be tested. We want to ensure purity, consistency, and stability. All our products will be put on stability, and we will develop stability protocols so that we will know the oil that we produce 6 months later is the same oil as it was when it was produced. Additionally, this is a industry where there are more unknowns than there are knowns. And in an attempt to do this in a medicinal way without destroying the whole plant, because the whole plant is important. But we will attempt to balance efficacy and tolerability of our product through strain development and developing those strains which have the appropriate cannabinoids in them for each disorder which patients are being treated. Our overall goal also is not to stop just with the product, but to provide patients with a situation that they can come into a facility. They can have privacy. They can talk to someone who is knowledgeable, who has been trained about the cannabis, about its perceived effects, and match that patient condition to the strains that are available at the care center. It is our goal to be truly a leader in cannabis care, not just a supplier of marijuana. Now, some of the differences that we believe AltMed brings with its mix of pharmaceutical experience, with medical cannabis know-how, and with experienced growers, we followed the basic principle of biotech in the fact that it's all about management. Back in the days when we were presenting on Wall Street to investors, you know, the first question was, tell us about the management team. We have a leadership team here that is second to none, and we will go through those in a minute. The second thing that makes us different is that we're going to focus on research and trying to develop IP. It's not the easiest thing in the world to develop intellectual property around a plant, but there are things that can be done, and there are products which can be developed which will provide us with the IP that will protect our brands, especially as this changes from a Schedule I to a Schedule II or Schedule III drug. We have partnered with Bang and are looking for other leaders in the field that have brands in different states and looking for the ability to bring those to multiple states, both multiple states in the U.S. and to the Canadian market. We also believe that this will become a national product. And so we have initiated grow and dispensing facilities in Arizona and are working on a program in California so that we become a major player in the industry that can attract market leaders. Mike mentioned a little bit about my background and his background and Bill's, so I won't bore you with those. It's on the slide, but I will talk about some of the other people. Dr. Riddle, who is our Chief Medical Officer, is a board-certified internal medicine, board-certified infectious disease specialist, ran the HIV program at Washington Hospital Center, has a great experience with patients, but in the last years of her career, she's been involved on the corporate side and in clinical research, has run clinical trials, has overseen regulatory affairs, quality control, has been involved in manufacturing. And Valerie and I have worked together over the last 15 years and brings a dedication and a very, very specific group of talents to AltMed, which allows us to remember where we are and what we're doing when it comes to patient care. Dr. Nassetti is our Quality Assurance Officer and Medical Director for our dispensaries here in Florida. Matt is a board-certified infectious disease specialist, has a PhD in psychology, and psychological pharmacokinetics, and is also a candidate for his law degree, which he will be getting shortly. Chris Witkowski is a PhD in chemistry. He will be the director of our lab processing services as well as oversee our research and development. And last but not least, Brad Weinstock is our master cultivator. Brad has experience in California growing for a number of different people, growing a number of different size grows. One of the problems in this industry is that very few people who are not in prison have experience with large grows. It's one thing to grow 10 plants in a closet or 20 plants in a garage. That's very different from growing 1,500 plants in indoor grow. And Brad brings experience in that area. Not only is the management team and the direction, the directors of the company, the people, the leadership of the company important, but it's very important not to get too entranced in the smell of your own perfume, if you allow the comment. It's important to use people who have experience, who are leaders in industry and business, to guide you and to every once in a while literally kick you in the butt when you're not going in the right direction. We are fortunate to have a number of these. The first is Jim Young. Jim and I worked at MedImmune with Mike, and is probably one of the most brilliant scientists I've ever worked with. And the reason I say that is that Jim has a unique capability of working at a number of different levels and is extremely creative in his approach. So Jim is working with us on our advisory board, as well as Jerry Carabellis, who is a PhD, worked with Mike and I at SmithKline when we were both there, and is currently a partner at Care Capital, was president of Novartis AG worldwide, and has great experience both in the pharmaceutical industry and in the financial area. Pritesh Kumar is a PhD at Vita, our partner. He has spent the last years of his life in cannabinoid research and is a wealth of knowledge and information which brings us guidance in our research area. Also, we rely on Stephen Schroeder, who is the master cultivator at Vitas. They have a team of 5 who probably are the most experienced hydroponic growing team probably in North America. I don't think that's a stretch. And so while we will not be growing hydroponically, they bring experience in growing that way and an experience with cannabis and give us another view on the market. All right, I've mentioned research and development, and R&D is important. It's important for a number of reasons. This is a budding industry, and that's not meant as a pun. It is an industry which has been held back because of the illegalities of it and not being able to bring it out and to do research. One of the keys in doing research is the ability to talk with other researchers, to develop key partnerships, to work with people. And so we are attempting to take the R&D approach that we used in the pharmaceutical and biotech to drive new innovations. We have on-site laboratories so that we can do our own research and we can do our own creation while ensuring the quality of our product. We are in possession of proprietary genetics, which we want to take even a step further. The plant itself can be genetically manipulated so that we can create strains that have the appropriate CBD levels, THC levels, the right cannabinoids for the right disorder. And this is in its very infancy at this time. But this is one place where we believe the industry will grow dramatically. As I've mentioned, intellectual property is key. It is the lifeblood of the pharmaceutical industry. It will become more important here as time goes on and as competitors increase. And last in this area is new delivery systems. I don't know of any medicine that currently is smoked. Even though there is plenty of data out there that says that the smoking of cannabis is not as harmful as the smoking of cigarettes, it just is not the best way to deliver it. It's difficult to control the dosage. It's difficult to know how much each patient is getting. And so it is not the ideal dosage form for medicinal purposes. So we are working on other systems and developing other ways to deliver this medicine, which will ensure a quality dosage that is given in the exact quantity every time they take it. Very important part of our strategy. We have an exclusive licensing agreement with Bang, as Mike mentioned. We chose Bang for a number of reasons. Bang already had a number of products in the marketplace, but their products were extremely high quality products. And in working with them, have not only become to understand the importance of providing quality products at a reasonable price. The techniques in which they're manufactured are very, very precise. And I would say the biggest part of our legal agreement with them is the part that ensures that we follow their rules, we do it in the same way every time, and we provide a consistent product. And so we are very excited about our relationship with Bang. We are working with them, and we are developing our own transdermal patch. Patches are an ideal way of delivering cannabis. You can do pharmacokinetics on them. You can then know how much product over what period of time is getting into the patient. It's a controlled manner. It can be done very indiscriminately, and someone can have a patch on and go to work, and it's not something where you have to run around a corner and literally light up a joint to get your medicine. We are also working on an oral strip, which is a sublingual strip, which very similar to the technology that Listerine used in their breast strips. You just put one on your tongue, and because of the oral cavity's ability to absorb this, you get very fast absorption. Once again, you can provide a dose which you know how much it is and provide the same dose every time. The CBD part of cannabis is a great anti-inflammatory. It has a lot of anti-inflammatory properties. Therefore, topical applications are ideal. And if you're applying it because of nerves, your nerve endings are closer to the top of the skin than if you're looking to try and get in the blood. Also, with a product like this, if you can go right to the nerve, you bypass the first pass effect in the liver. And this is very important in some applications. So our multi-product strategy is to ensure that we can grow and dispense in several markets. There's a number of reasons for that. One of them is that dispensing in different markets is some of the best way to do marketing research in this industry there is. By having people at different markets, you will see different trends, learn about different strains, learn about what your patients are looking for in different markets. It also allows you to operate in different regulatory districts that give you a better understanding of the regulatory nature of other states and allows you to become in each state an expert. And one of the things that we believe strongly in is participating in the development and growth of the industry as a whole, so that there is rules and regulations, but it's done from a knowledge base, not something that many legislators have today. From a distribution standpoint, we believe in Bang. We believe that we can bring Bang products to markets. You can see on the screen, I won't read them to you, but we're looking at bringing Bang products to a number of markets throughout, because we believe it's important early on in this industry to become a national, even an international player. In summary, AltMed is a fully integrated, focused cannabis company. We're focused on research and product development, licensing and distribution, and growing and distributing quality products to the patients in the United States who need it. I'd be happy to take any questions at this time.
Okay, David, give me a couple of seconds to queue up questions. First question, David. Does any of your products require FDA approval?
No, at this time, FDA approval is not required for any of the products. We only distribute our products in states, even though CBD can be distributed and is being distributed. We've made a decision to not distribute just pure CBD products in states that do not have a medical cannabis approval.
Next question. How does federal legislation impact the growth of your business?
Federal legislation is going to impact the rapidity of growth. This industry is going to grow with or without federal change, but once there is federal change, companies will be able then to set up manufacturing in a state and ship to all states. You'll be able to cross state lines with your products. That is going to do two things. Number one, it's going to make individual products that are unique available to more patients. It will also lower the cost. Additionally, the change in federal legislation will allow universities to do more research. It will allow us to do more research. It will allow us to gain a greater understanding of the product and the attributes of the product that can be brought to patients.
Next question. What is the exact percentile of THC in blend with the products?
It varies on the product. We have a group of products which are CBD only. They come from industrial hemp. It's 99.7% pure CBD. Other products are manufactured based upon the need and based upon the brand. We are looking to focus on THC levels that are appropriate for different conditions, and so it varies. It can be 8% THC and an 8% CBD, a 1-to-1, or it can be a 3-to-1 on either side. So it varies upon the product and the indication for which the product is being provided. One of the things that we truly believe in is the importance of the whole plant. There's a drug on the market called Marinol, which is THC. It's synthetic THC, and it's a single isomer THC, which a product in the pharmaceutical industry needs to be a single isomer. However, there are 86 different cannabinoid receptors in the body, and it's the whole plant that is required. So THC is required, CBD is required. The data, while it's still, it's thin, but the data strongly suggests that the amount or the presence of THC in some cases activates a CBD or activates a receptor so that CBD can get into the receptor. There is data that suggests just the opposite, that CBD needs to be there for THC to do its thing. Dr. Gupta has called this the entourage effect. And one of the first trials that we're going to perform once we get a license here in Florida is we're going to take Marinol and we're going to do a double-blind study against whole plant. And I know what the outcome is going to be, only because of talking to physicians who have prescribed Marinol and had their patients come back into the clinic and throw the drug at the physician and say, this crap doesn't work, give me a joint. The whole plant is important, the relationship is important, and this is an area where research needs to be done.
Next question, could you provide any color on your grow facilities and dispensaries? What they're probably saying is, do you have any operational or they're not up yet?
They're not up. They're designed. Our indoor facility is around 30,000 square feet. Our greenhouses will be built in pods. They're around 18,000 square feet in total, with the headroom that's needed for drying and for moms and like that outside the greenhouse area. We have 20,000 square feet, 20 acres of property on which to build these. And, you know, road work has been done. The ground has been prepared. We've done some site work. But until we get a law in Florida that is a little bit more clear as to how and what type of cannabis we're going to grow, we haven't broken ground in Florida. In Arizona, the facility is basically, the first phase is basically complete. The first phase is 120 lights, which should allow us to grow about 1,500 pounds of cannabis a year. Once again, these are state-of-the-art facilities using the latest in technology and clean room technology to grow. The dispensary is open in Arizona. It has been mismanaged somewhat, and that's probably the reason we were able to acquire it, which we are planning on turning around and turning into a premier dispensary in the United States.
Next question, can AltMed, like Cannabis that provides CBD derivatives, able to ship to all 50 states today?
This is a very tough question. It's not a simple yes or no. It depends on what attorney you've talked to and what his interpretation of the law is. There is a very clear interpretation out there that CBD is not covered under cannabis, and that if it's CBD from hemp and hemp oil, that it can be shipped to all 50 states. There also is an interpretation that any CBD is cannabis and is therefore covered by the DEA and therefore is a Schedule I drug and cannot be shipped. There are a number of companies currently shipping to all 50 states. The FDA just came down on a group of them, but it wasn't on the basis of it being CBD and CBD being illegal. It was on the base of either improper claims or improper labeling, and the product did not contain what it said it contained. So if there was any better way to give you a yes/no answer, I don't know what it is, but that's pretty much where the industry is today.
Next question. Bang products. What are the applications for the Bang products, and what kind of testing were done on those products?
Bang is a series of products. We have a chocolate. We have a vape pen that has both a CBD only as well as an indica, a sativa, and a hybrid oil. We have a spray, which has the same 4 different formulations. We have a gum, which has the same 4 different formulations. All these products, the starting cannabis is tested for THC levels, CBD levels, lack of pesticide use on the product, for mold, for other bacteria. The final product is also tested for potency. Then the final product is again tested for those same things to ensure that each batch has the label amount. All products are labeled with the amount of CBD or THC, the source from which they came. All the ingredients in each product is labeled. All ingredients are GRAS certified, or generally regarded as safe, which is the food product categorization that everything you use to mix in a product needs to be. So they are tested from the beginning to the end. They are manufactured in different locations, but under the same strict guidelines in each situation.
Next question. Does AltMed only work with CBD? What about CBN, CBG, THC, etc.? What is the maximum allotment of THC that is allowed to be shipped across the U.S.? That's a long question.
All right. We work with all CBD, CBDN, THCA, THC Delta. We work with whole plant THC. You cannot ship anything above 0.03% of THC, 0.03% of THC across state lines. So virtually, you cannot ship legally THC across state lines.
This might be forward-looking, but what percentage, a breakdown of revenues, of future revenues of your business, what percentage is Bang revenues, growing, dispensing, licensing? So I guess they're asking for maybe a sort of a percentage breakdown, what it looks like.
I would say 3/5 of our business will be Bang, licensing, other product sales, and 2/5 will be of growing, oil, dispensing. So a 60-40 split.
Okay. Next question. Can AltMed operate and grow in other MMJ states? Being that you cannot operate currently or in the near future in Florida. So let me read that again. Can AltMed operate and grow in other MMJ states, being that you cannot operate currently or in the near future in Florida?
All right, I'll attack the back part of that question first. We believe we'll be able to operate probably within the next 6 months in Florida based on what's happening in the legislation today. But we cannot today. Yes, we can operate in other states. Every state has its own rules about whether or not the license holder has to be a resident. In Arizona, you do not have to be. In Colorado, they do not allow outside investment today, but there's laws on the books to change that. So it's a state-by-state determination. We can operate in Arizona, California, Washington, Alaska, Illinois, Colorado would be the only state where we would have to have someone in our company who was a resident to make the investment.
So many CBD players. How are you different?
We're actually not a pure CBD player. We are a medicinal cannabis player using the whole plant. We will provide pure CBD as part of our product mix, but that's not the focus. The focus is the whole plant and the cannabis medicinal play rather than just a nutraceutical CBD play.
Can you give us color on the Bang licensing model? Is it sort of like a, I guess they're asking, is it sort of like a revenue share or is it flat fee? How's the revenue model?
I cannot give color on that due to our agreement. I'm prohibited due to the confidentiality clauses in the agreement. I will say that it is one that is beneficial to both parties, that we work very closely together, and it's one that doesn't put a severe impact upon the final cost of the product to the patient.
Okay. Next question, is the sole location currently only in Arizona?
No, we have locations here in Florida. We have a location in Arizona, and we are in final negotiations for a location in California.
Okay. It's taking me time to load up the next one. If licensed with AltMed, would one not be able to work with other companies of the like regarding retail/wholesale effectively and non-compete?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Are we referring to Bang, or are we referring to?
Let me read the question again. If licensed
Right.
with AltMed, would one not be able to work with other companies as far as regarding retail and wholesale? So
It would depend. It would depend upon the license. It would be depending on the agreement, and be dependent on the situation. I don't see that as being able to answer that as a yes or no. It would just depend upon the situation.
okay. Next question. As far as short-term and long-term funding, what does AltMed need regarding funding short-term and long-term?
Our short-term funding is pretty well set. What we're going to need medium-term to long-term will depend upon a lot of the situations that come to us that fit within our overall focus and our strategy. I believe that based upon our projections, we are projected to be cash flow positive in 2016. Having said that, if a certain opportunity presented itself that we felt was within our bandwidth, that didn't dilute our focus, that would be online strategically, and that's something that we thought would bring value to our shareholders, we would pursue that, even if it meant having to go out and raise money. I will caution with that, though. I am a firm believer in the first two rules of biotechnology. And the first rule of biotechnology was always raise money when you can. The second rule of biotechnology was raise more money at the same time. So there is always a need for capital. one of the worst things that can happen to a business is they put themselves in a position that 3 years from now they're going to be extremely profitable, but they're going to go bankrupt in the meantime. So it's important to look at capital and look at what it can bring to the company and what it means to the company at that time.
All right, well, David, that concludes our Q&A. Any last comments regarding AltMed?
Would just like to thank everyone for listening and for their questions. Would like to invite anyone who wants to come to our website to see about us or to come see us in person. Be happy to have you here and host you, and look forward to bringing quality products to the patients in need across the United States. Thank you all.
Well, thank you.